You want a home theater system that just works, that sounds reliable day after day, and that doesn't feel like a gamble every time you press play. The fear of buying the wrong speakers or a receiver that can't keep up is real, especially when you're spending enough money that you expect the whole setup to live comfortably in your living room for years. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. When I first started looking at floor-standing speakers, the biggest question I kept asking myself was, will these big towers actually fill the room I have, or will they end up sounding thin because the amp can't drive them properly? The same hesitation applies to the receiver. You need something that can handle a full 7.2-channel mix, decode the latest Dolby Atmos and DTS formats, and still be easy enough to set up without a PhD in acoustics. That's why a bundle that pairs a reputable speaker line with a matching AV receiver can feel like a safety net, but only if the pieces really complement each other. The Focal Vestia No3 speakers are the big boy of Focal's home theater line. They're designed to sit directly on the floor, with a cabinet that's been tuned for a smooth mid-range and a low-frequency response that can hold its own even without a dedicated subwoofer. In everyday use, that translates to a clear dialogue presence when you're watching a drama and a satisfying thump on the action scenes of a superhero flick. Because they're floor-standing, you don't have to worry about placing them on shelves or worrying about desk height. They simply sit where you want your front left and right channels. The RX-A4 vintage receiver that comes with the bundle is the engine that makes the speakers sing. It's a 7.2-channel unit with 8K HDMI support, so it's ready for the latest consoles and streaming boxes that push the resolution envelope. More importantly for most living rooms, it includes Cinema DSP HD3 technology, which tailors the surround processing to the room's dimensions, and Dolby Atmos height virtualization, meaning you get a sense of overhead sound even if you don't have ceiling-mounted speakers. In practice, that virtualization adds a subtle lift to rain or helicopter sounds in movies, giving a feeling of space without the extra hardware cost. Who should consider this bundle? If you already own a 4K TV and want to step up from a soundbar to a full-blown theater experience, and you have a medium-sized room, roughly 1,215 feet across, the Vestia No3 paired with the vintage receiver gives you a solid foundation. It works especially well for music lovers who appreciate Focal's reputation for detailed mids. You'll hear the nuance in acoustic guitar or a jazz piano that a typical TV speaker simply can't reproduce. Gamers will also benefit from the low latency and precise positional cues that the surround processing provides, making every footstep and gunshot feel anchored in the virtual environment. On the flip side, if you're living in a tight apartment where floor-standing speakers would dominate the space, or if you're on a strict budget, this bundle may feel like overkill. The speakers themselves are large and heavy, so you need enough floor area to allow a proper tone. For everyday use, the biggest question is not just whether Focal Vestia No3 black floor-standing speaker pair with RX-A4 AV receiver bundle has impressive specs, but whether those specs match the way you actually plan to use it. In the speaker category, buyers should compare the headline features against their daily routine, setup space, compatibility needs, and how often they will use the product after the first week. The strongest reasons to consider it are tied to these verified details. This bundle includes a RX-A4 vintage 7.2-channel AV receiver with 8K HDMI in. Vintage AV receivers set the benchmark for true sound with meticulous engineering. Surround. Cinema DSP HD3 technology maximizes theater sound effects for a rich sense of PR. Those points matter because they affect the real buying decision after the excitement of the product page is gone. If those are the exact things you need, this becomes a much easier product to justify.